Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Dr. Seuss. So this is one quote that I like a lot, and I think that it resonates with my life a lot. As we get into the video, I'll tell you guys more about it. But I think today it's really hard to accept ourselves just because of social media and comparison with other people, and it's just kind of like all around us. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I think not accepting yourself for who you are ultimately leads to you losing your peace. But I mean, I think there are also some things that you can do, right? Obviously, that can help you. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it mainly starts with a little talk in your head, as we'll get into later on in this video. But let's just go ahead and dive in on society in general. So for me, I know how it feels not to fit in. You know what I'm saying? Throughout my entire freshman year of high school, I felt very isolated and honestly just by myself throughout the whole year. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really have many friends outside of the basketball kids, and I didn't really hang out with people outside of school. I was, kind of just chilling on my own place. I think that really mainly stems from the belief that I didn't think that people enjoyed me being around. You know what I'm saying? And that made me not enjoy who I was. I think what pushed me past that, honestly, is just me just being like, I'm just gonna be who I am unapologetically. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go out there and try to be a people pleaser. I'm just gonna just do whatever I can, and if I don't hang out with people and I'm just by myself, that's totally fine with me too. You know what I'm saying? And just finding peace with that. A quote here from Maya Ignalu. Don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. I apologize if I do. But you alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. And not only are you, like, physically, if you're alone, right? But you also always have God with you. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever spiritual belief that you have and foundation that you believe in. I think that you also just being yourself is going to naturally attract other people with the same beliefs, the same values, the same work ethic, and the same love for themselves that you have for yourself. Like, it's just the law of attraction. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to attract what you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm a positive vibey person, then I'm going to attract people that are also very positive and vibey because they can see that, we can connect off of that. You know what I mean? So, another thing, I praise you well because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are beautiful. I know that full well. Psalm 139:14. Once again, here, I know that some of y'all may not be Christian, but for me, we are all made uniquely by God, is what I believe, and we are all one of one. Never lose sight of that. Never be questioning, like, okay, how am I different from this other person? Like, you're different. The thing is, like, the talents that God given you, they may not come out right now. You may not know what they are right now, but you have them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do incredible things, and I do truly believe that as long as you're faithful, God is going to show you the way. He's going to show you what you can do. And so this is kind of like the little habit that I try to instill is positive self-talk, right? So I think that this is something that really helped me a lot because subconsciously what you tell yourself is what you believe as go into that. But I think that sometimes, or a lot of times, whenever I get led astray, I need to remind myself of who I am, and that's going to really bring me my peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only that, but I feel like whenever you kind of tell yourself who you are, you kind of bring your swag back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know who you are. You don't need anything except for you and God, and that gives you peace. You know what I mean? You're just like, I'm just a super cool person. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just an amazing person. And we should all talk highly of ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't talk highly of yourself, to me, like, that doesn't make sense to me. Because, like I said, we're one of one. You know what I'm saying? And you can't deny that you're not one of one. For me, is there another Eamon Christopher Langan out there with with the same name probably, but no, there's not another me. You know what I'm saying? And there's never gonna be another me. And like I just thank God for that because I know that there's nothing like me out there. But once again, you also do have to be humble enough to know that you can be replaced, but just stay confident in knowing that you're one of one. You know what I mean? And I mean, honestly, I think as long as you keep your head down, you stay persistent, and you keep your spiritual foundation number one, which is something that can get led astray whenever you do get success, right? You can forget about everything that God did for you whenever you were at your lows, and now like you're up high. But end up, what's gonna end up happening is, we can just take that all away. We've seen it many times, right? And I think that as long as you can you give him that praise, you give him that glory, you do things for him, or whatever spiritual foundation you have. Like, you're gonna continue to accomplish whatever you want. You're gonna continue to have peace. You're gonna continue to be like, yeah, I'm working, and I'm working for a reason. I'm working for a purpose. I'm working for what God has for me, what He has in store for me. I think for me personally, I definitely, even now, I still struggle with like being like, yeah, like I'm a good person. I'm a cool guy. I'm kind. I'm loving. I'm caring. I'm compassionate. I'm a smart guy. You know what I mean? And then you not only do you like see those things that like your traits that are positive that really they can't really be taken away from you. You know what I'm saying? As long as you really have your peace and like you really are just there with God, those can't be taken away from you. The external stuff that can. Right now, I'm going to be a freshman next year at UT Austin, right? That could all be taken away from me if I just flunk out. That's not going to happen, right? But like, you know what I'm saying? Like that can be taken away from me, but what can't be taken away from me is my kindness. And from Brene Brown here, owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing we'll ever do. You know what I'm saying? So be you, own you. Don't ever feel like you have to live for someone else. That experience that you had, that time that you slipped in the third grade playground and you got all muddy, you got your clothes all muddy, and you fell on your back and you had to go to the nurse. And the funny part was that someone else did it right before you did, and you continued to do that. Is that a little bit personal? Yeah, but I own that. You know what I'm saying? That was me. I did that. No one else did that. And like, that sounds so stupid, but like, I think truly owning that is something that is amazing. You know what I mean? And this one here from Bob Proctor: don't be a victim of negative self-talk. Remember, you are listening. So once again, subconsciously, whatever you tell yourself up here or even out loud, what I like to do, I like to tell myself out loud in the mirror. I just like to say like a couple of things, and that are positive, right? What you're telling yourself subconsciously, you're going to believe. The human brain is so powerful. I don't think a lot of people understand this, that if you tell yourself something day in and day out, you're going to believe it. You're not going to just ignore it. Your brain's not going to ignore it because you're feeding yourself those right mental nutrients, as David Goggins like to say it, and you're going to believe it. You're going to know that that's who you are. You know what I mean? And so for me, on top of positive self-talk, something that's helped a lot is just like going on TikTok and being like looking for those videos that kind of feed you everything that's correct that you need to hear. You know what I'm saying? Not just like discipline videos of like David Goggins, but like videos of like everything's gonna work out, everything's gonna be in your favor, everything's gonna happen that's gonna happen, and everything's gonna be right in the end. And like you hear that, and when you take advantage of the brain knowing subconsciously that you take that information in, you continue to listen to it, it's gonna happen, which is crazy. It's crazy, but it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And right here, another one from Brene Brown, shout out: talk to someone like someone you love. This is something that I struggled with. Because me personally, I think that I can give very good advice, but I don't listen to myself sometimes. I'm very hypocritical, I guess you could say. And that's something that, me personally, I need to work on. But like, I think that whenever you like look at yourself like a best friend, you give yourself that advice a best friend would give you, or you would give a best friend. I think really giving yourself advice that like, like I would get, like just being real with yourself is something that isn't really seen in society today, and something that's emphasized, which needs to continue to be emphasized. You know what I mean? I think that you expect so much from yourself and you don't give yourself grace. I think that that's something that you have to do in order to accept yourself. You have to understand you're human. You have to understand that you're going to mess up. But you also have to understand like you're destined for so many great things, right? And yes, you're going to mess up. Everyone messes up on this journey of life. No one's ever lived it perfect unless you're Jesus. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Sorry. You can't expect to be like this all-out superhero living some perfect life. Because at the end of the day, if you don't go through those roller coasters, those motions, those waves, what is life about? What is the fun part? What is the fun part about if you're not low? Because when you're low and you have those highs and you work past everything and you have that taste of success, you don't want to lose it again. You know what I mean? Like when you go on that vacation out to, I don't know, Cancun or Mexico with someone else, or like, I don't know, to Europe, like with your family. Or, you do this once in a lifetime thing when you're young and you get a taste of that and you look at it and you're like, this could be me. I could be doing this. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what is driving me. Like, I want to be able to pay for my own vacations. I want to be able to pay for my own stuff just because, like, I want it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want. And Proverbs 23:7 here: for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. What you think is what you believe. Like we've talked about. Subconsciously, what you end up believing is what you end up becoming. From John Mason: you were born an original, don't die a copy. God made you an original, made you one of one, like we've talked about. Don't die holding on to something, like not accepting yourself, just because you may have been too scared to take the risk of giving yourself that grace. Which I know sounds kind of dumb, but for me, that's where I was at. You know what I mean? I was scared to give myself grace, but at the end of the day, y'all, always remember that not only can you be whatever you want to be in life, but remember that like you can change the world. You know what I mean? And that sounds super cringy. But like if you really worked your butt off and like you truly believed you had like you could do anything you wanted, which you can. You can do anything you want. Don't forget that. Then it's all gonna work out. You can do whatever you want. All right. Stay safe out there, y'all. See you guys in the next video.